Hi everybody, welcome back to the Maya tutorial with Live Academy 2020. As you know, I am Mariana, and in this video I will be doing the introduction video for our second Maya class, which will grasp a little of the basics, but most importantly, it will show you a little of Maya at an intermediate level. Don't worry if you're not mastering the beginner level yet, that's perfectly normal. I'm not expecting you to be mastering a beginner to follow this class. This class is more or less as a continuation of our first class, but the most important is to highlight here that we will jump into the architectural domain in Maya, which is actually something very rare to find on YouTube, right? It's very hard to find YouTube content for Maya from architects to architects or product designers. So in this video, we will warm up a bit the basic skills for modeling a building general massing. And then in our actual class, we will learn the form finding techniques in Maya to create this building. Okay, so without further ado, we will simplify a Zaha very known building, the Galaxy Soho building in Beijing. This is an exercise that I repeat many times in my classes since the massing of the Galaxy Soho can be fairly simplified. Okay, we are not going to get into much detail, but we will, most of it, recognize the main techniques and the main topology configuration and study this image in our Maya vocabulary, right? So if we look at this image right now, we can recognize, let's say, 5 torus, which is one of my favorite primitives in Maya. It's the donut, basically widely known as the donut shape. Also, we can see that we are bridging from each egg more or less 3 times, right? So we can understand that there are 3 bridges with a gap in between. So we can almost split this object in more or less 8 layers, right? Like the ground floor, a bridging floor, and in between another bridging, another gap. This is how you study a building Maya-wise, right? It's also very clear to identify a very strong horizontal presence of the balconies, right? So this is how we are going to model this. We are starting by moving to Maya and confirming our base settings. Okay, I'm using Maya 2019. I'm doing the student version, which you all can get as well. I've noticed that whenever I open Maya 2019, it takes me to top view immediately and not to perspective view. Maybe this is happening to you as well. So I like to model in perspective view mainly. Okay, so let's go to perspective view by pressing spacebar, holding on spacebar, and then holding a right click and dragging up to perspective view. There you go. If you're not going to default view, just go to view and then choose default view. Okay, we can see 0, 0. Second thing very important to make sure is that your Z is up. Okay, I don't want to work on the Y up because we are not doing animations, and I want Maya to be fully synchronized with Rhino or whatever other software, architectural softwares. Okay, we are doing architecture, so Z is up. Make sure that your Z is up. Just go to Windows, Setting Preferences, and then Preferences. Click on Settings, click on Z, Save. And so you don't have to do this ever again. Just save the preferences by going to File, Save Preferences. Okay, this is perfect. Let's also start by saving the file. Save scene as. We're going to call it Intro Class 02 Live Academy. Okay, done. Continue. Okay, perfect. So let's start by creating one simple torus. Usually my workflow is to model one single building before modeling the whole cluster and adding all of the attributes that are the same on the other buildings. Okay, so let's achieve the first torus. For that, we are going to create Polygon Primitives. Make sure that your interactive creation is on, okay? It's ticked. If it's not on, just click on it. And then we choose torus. We drag the torus on the floor. If you drag it even a bit outwards, okay, just swipe it right a bit. You don't have to be precise on the sizes because we are going to control it now by going to these little icons on the right, which I have explained on my first tutorial. Please make sure that you watch my first YouTube tutorial, okay? Just go to your channel box. Here on input, you have your torus history, and we are changing the radius to 50 meters And the section radius to, I wrote this down before, 30 meters. Okay, zoom out. Okay. Subdivision level, we want a lot less, we don't want all of this. Okay, so let's make it 8 layers. 8 and 8. Actually, maybe we want this one as 5, so it's a pentagon. Okay, so 5, 8, work as a pentagon. If you press 3, although it's a pentagon, it's actually a donut, okay, on smooth mesh preview. Looks about right. Press 1. As you can see, the middle edge is actually on 0, 0 in Z, okay, which means the base is not on 0, 0, and we want to change that because this point is going to be our floor. So for that, we're going to press W, which is the move, right, the move tool, and we want to set this pivot in this little corner, which we covered this on our last class, which is basically snapping the pivot to a vertex. For that, just press D, hold on D, hold on V, hold on middle mouse button, and just drag it with your middle mouse to the vertex that you want to snap on, okay? As you are satisfied, just drop all of them, and there you go, your pivot is now fixed to a vertex, which is actually the other one, so let's fix this. So D, V, middle mouse button, drag it here. Okay, perfect. I want this on 0, 0 on Z. Click on this icon, which is the modeling toolkit here. And as you can see, these are your coordinates on the scene. Your Z is actually minus 30, so we are underground. You press 0, now we are on 0, 0, align with our grid, which is exactly what we wanted, okay? Let's reset the pivot to the center. Hold on D, hold on right click, and then drag it down to reset pivot. Perfect, now it's on the center of this object. It's exactly what we wanted. Okay, if we press 3, there you go, you have your torus. And as you know, usually I like to keep an original on our scene. Also, let's open our outliner on the left. Let's give it a name. Maybe torus was okay, but let's do it torus 01 and call it original. Perfect. Now we are going to copy this guy, Control D, drag it to the right. This is not the original anymore, so just leave it on 0, 0. Okay, why we are doing this? It's because now that we have created a duplicate, if you go to the object history on channel box, you cannot control the basic properties, okay, because this is a duplicate. But if you go to the original, you can still change it. Okay, so I always keep an original in case I want to change the base properties. Let's turn on the edge preview. Okay. It's very important now, the next step that I'm going to show you. If you look at your image, you can see that the resolution of the mesh is a lot higher horizontally. Okay, we have a lot of horizontal lines. If you would say immediately that we're going to add edge loops, but we are not, because if we add edge loops, we change the shape of the primitive. Okay, I'm going to show you. If we do our basic add edge loop, which is shift, right click, insert edge loop, and let's say we insert one here. If we press 3, you see that the shape is getting a little bit deformed, okay? Even if we repeat, you see what's happening to the shape. So we don't want this. We want this evenly. See, it's awful. We want this evenly densified. So let's Control Z. Control Z. Okay, perfect. There are a lot of ways to do this. I'm going to show you my way. So basically, I go to Modify, Convert, Smooth Mesh Preview to Polygons. You see that the change is the same, but the level of subdivision is a lot higher. This is actually, I think this is too high for us. So we're going to change the number of subdivisions by going to Inputs History. We don't want division on 1, on 2, we want division on 1. Okay, this is a lot better. Press 3, it's exactly the same. Even if you wanted to go super high, then just press 4 or 3. Okay, basically this is how you control the detail on your object. So now we are working on number 1, which is exactly what we want. We are going to give this a material, by the way, and let's give it a glass. So right click on top of the object with the object selected, assign new material. Usually we use Blend for glass. So attribute editor opens automatically. Just scroll down a bit here. Scroll down and you'll get the material, the blend. I'm going to call it glass. We're gonna do a bluish kind of glass, so glass blue, enter, color, a bit of blue, a bit of blue and green, and a bit of dark here. I like this. Perfect. A bit of turquoise actually. And transparency. Not too transparent. Maybe here is fine. Second thing we are going to do now is to introduce, if we go back to our image, we introduce these white details, okay? I'm going to do it on one building, so then we duplicate on the other ones, and we don't have to repeat this process 5 times in this case, okay? So horizontals for that, so just press number 1. We're going to select all of these horizontal edge loops. I'm going to show you how to select like in a slower way now, but in our class, I'm going to show you a very fast, a lot easier way to select. But now we can practice a bit of patience, okay? So just click 2 times on the edge to select the edge loop. Press Shift, keep Shift, hold, okay? Hold on Shift, click 2 times, and we're going to select all of the horizontals. So hold on Shift, click 2 times on the edge to get the edge loop. 2 times. Okay, keep rotating. Okay, this is perfect. Don't forget that we are rotating with Alt and left click, but you should know this by now if you have watched my first tutorial. So we are going to basically offset these lines, and for that we are not going to introduce edge loops like I told you, so we don't deform the shape. We are going to use the bevel option. Shift right click on top, hold on Shift right click, go to bevel, open options, okay, here, and then drop both. We are going to bevel 0.3, which is 30 centimeters with 1 segment, okay? So just apply. Let's see if it's enough. Yeah, I think maybe it could be a bit less than 0.3, so just Control Z. Let's make it a 0.2, apply. Okay, wonderful. Now these guys are actually white, so we are going to select them again. A bit of patience, so click on the first face, hold on Shift, click 2 times on the second face, and this you get the ring. Shift, click once, click 2 times, hold on Shift all the time. Okay, wonderful. Let's give it a new material. So Shift right click on top, assign new material. This time it's going to be white, and I like it to have it a bit shiny as well. So we are going to pick the font. Select on the font, attribute editor shows up, click on font 1, and write the name white. Color be white. Never make anything completely white or completely black, because you will lose the shadow. Okay, so actually nothing is actually completely white, so let's keep it a bit white gray. Perfect. Okay, and now if you press 3 on the smooth mesh preview, these white lines get a lot thicker. That means that we need to crease the edge perimeter of these faces. Okay, if we crease them, they go back to the original smaller size. So to crease these guys, don't lose the face selection. If you lost it, just do Control Z and you'll get it back. So on top of the object, click on Control, hold on Control, hold on right click, swipe up to edges, and then up right to edge perimeter. And there you have it, selecting the perimeter. This is a very fast way to select perimeters. It's a trick in Maya. So now we are going to normally crease like we know how to do. So just Shift right click, drag it down to Crease tool, and then with the middle mouse button, just hold it and swipe to the right as many times as you need. Okay, if you want to uncrease, swipe to the left with middle mouse. If you want to crease again, swipe to the right with the middle mouse. To quit this tool, just press on Q, right click on top of the object mode, and click outside. Now we want to extrude these white lines a little bit, because if you look at the image, they actually become balconies sometimes, right? Or they have a bit of texture outside as well. So we are going to select these white lines again. I'm going to teach you how to select these white color in a completely different way, instead of having to do this one by one by one by one, which is a bit annoying, right? Let's make like a very fast way to select, which is selecting by material. So if you go up to your hypershade, where you have your sphere, click on top of it, and you will see all of these materials. So I go to white, which is the material I want to select, the faces. Just right click on top of it, okay? Right click and then drag it, hold on right click and then drag it to select object to material. If you go back to your scene, these faces are actually selected, okay? So just right click on top of the object and go to face mode. There you go, they are selected. And we are going to extrude this guy a little bit. I'm going to work on number 1 mesh preview because it's easier when you're extruding. So to extrude, just Control E. This is my favorite way to extrude. Control E. Thickness 1 meter. So thickness 1 meter. And now don't lose this selection. If you press 3, you see that it gets very bulky. So as you have predicted, we are going to crease these lines as well. How to crease, how to get the edge perimeter. Again, Control, right click, hold on Control, right click, 2 edges, 2 edge perimeter. Now we are going to crease, which is Shift right click, drag it down, crease, middle mouse button, and swipe to the right. Okay, to quit this tool is Q. Right click on top to object mode, click outside. Okay, now you can see that the curves are a bit crooked. As you have been doing my classes, you know that I hate working with the curves like this, okay? I like to give it a higher definition. So for that, we go to Attribute Editor. If you don't have your Attribute Editor, just click on this icon. Click on your object. And then go back to your first torus shape, this guy. Open Smooth Mesh. Instead of number 2 of subdivisions, we press number 4. Okay, did you see? Like, it got a lot better. A lot better. Okay. Second important thing, let's look at your image, is these horizontal lines. Sometimes they get a lot thicker, so they create these balconies. Let's do that by scaling them inwards a bit. So we go to face mode, right click on top of it. We are just going to select these internal faces. Click on the first one and 2 times on the second one on the face ring. Hold on Shift, don't forget. First, second one, holding on Shift. This guy maybe doesn't make much sense, but this one makes sense here. Okay, now we are going to scale it a bit inwards, so just press R, click on the middle cube, and then with your middle mouse button on top, just swipe to the left. Okay, if you swipe to the right with your middle mouse button, it goes outwards. If you swipe to the left, it goes inwards. Okay, this is way too much. Here, okay, perfect. Let's do a bit of the same on the outside. So let's select only these guys, 3 rings, and this guy as well. Cube, middle mouse button B to the sides. Okay, this is too much. Okay, object mode, left. Okay, there we go. Oh, we forgot this guy. Let's repeat this guy as well. So R, a bit inwards. Okay, perfect. So we have our first one. Don't forget to keep saving because Maya is a very crashy software. So Control S, save. Okay, wonderful. Let's move to our second torus. So Control D, drag this guy to the right. Perfect. And now we are going to create a little cluster. Okay. For this intro, we are just doing 2 of them. Or 3 of them, and then for our actual class, we'll do the whole thing. So just Control D, drag it a bit to the right, and now, as you can see from the image, they are not side by side, okay, they are like a bit diagonally displaced. So just get this guy a bit more diagonally. Okay, perfect. Okay, now the most important technique about this project actually are the bridges, right? So first important thing to say about bridging is you cannot bridge 2 objects that are not combined, like that are not part of the same object, right? In this case, you click on one and then on the second one, that means that they are 2 separate objects. I'm going to show you what happens if you try to bridge them. I always bridge on Smooth Mesh Preview 1, okay, because Maya is a bit funky when it gets to bridge. So let's try, for example, if I select this face, and this guy as well, select these 2 faces, and let's say I want to bridge these faces, I go to edge mode, right? Select one edge and then the second edge, and shift right click, hold on, shift right click, bridge, and it gets me this little red note. Basically, it's telling me that they are not part of the same object. Okay, so let's Control Z and let's learn how to combine them. So if you select on the first object and then on the second object, and then you go to hold on Shift right click, drag it down to combine, now they are the same object. What is very important about the combining option is that if you go to your outliner here, you will see that there is this transformation history left behind. Every time you combine, you should delete the history of the object. Otherwise, you will get into trouble, okay? You don't delete by just going to the outliner and deleting, because this happens. So you have to do it properly by selecting the object, going to Edit, Delete by Type, and then select on History. Delete on Type, History. I never do this. I actually do the shortcut, which is very important, but you don't have to learn this now. You can do it after, okay? So Alt-Shift-D, that means you're deleting the history. And now if you go back to your outliner and you delete it, it's fine, okay? So it's done and it's ready for your bridging. So let's start by bridging. We are going back to our image. So they are basically bridging on the top and then one bridge in the middle. For example, let's simplify this a little. So first bridge on the top, select these guys. Let's delete some faces, okay? So we are going to leave the top face here and then we delete only the sides. This one, this, okay, look at it to see more or less what I'm deleting. I'm doing a 2-floor bridge actually, so delete this, and this. Okay, so I'm deleting these faces. Make sure that you delete the same as I am. Okay, confirm. Okay, another important thing to say about bridging is whenever you bridge, you need to bridge the same number of edges. That means that you have to delete here the same number of faces and bridge the same number of edges. Otherwise, you'll get this red sign again. Perfect. So I start bridging this side by selecting one edge, Shift, and keep selecting. Okay. Shift, keep selecting. And then I go to the other object. I select exactly the same number of edges. It has to be the same number of edges. Otherwise, you'll get this red note here. Select with pressing Shift and Shift. Oops. And select by pressing Control. Okay. Shift. Wonderful. Let's see if we have the same number of edges. So Shift right click, drag it onto bridge. We do. Okay, so no complaints. And now I'm gonna bridge the top one, so it's 1 and 2. To repeat the command, just press G. Okay, and now I'm bridging the bottom line, which is this guy and this guy. To repeat the command, just press G. And now, instead of clicking one by one, I'm just clicking on the edge loop twice. Okay, now I have all of the edges. I cannot bridge now, because if I bridge, it's actually giving me only like one single face without the edges. It's just covering a hole. So what I do is I select all of them twice, click 2 times to get the edge loop. And I unselect these 2 guys by pressing Control, drag it down. Okay, if I unselect this, that means that I have the selection on one side and the selection on the other side. Shift right click bridge. Wonderful. So now if I press number 3, okay, it's starting to bridge. Okay, second work we are going to do here is the crease work. Click on the horizontals. I have all the horizontals selected. Shift right click, crease tool, and then drag it to the right. Whenever you intersect 3 creases, it actually gets you into a very orthogonal point. That means that we need to increase this guy, increase this, increase this, and then in the bottom, same, increase this, and this, and we are going to increase on number 1 because it's a lot faster. So swipe it to the left, and I forgot to crease these 2. Okay, swipe it to the right, also forgot this one. Okay, let me see. Q, object mode, press 3, Okay, we are getting there. Perfect, let's fix the materials, okay? So, face mode, select one face, select the second face, first face and second, shift right click on top, assign existing material, and it's the glass blue. Okay, Maya has a bug, especially 2019 has a bug. When it comes to materials, it's very annoying. So the material is not changing. So for that, I'm just gonna bridge them again, okay? I delete them, select these two edges. It's a very annoying bug, okay? This one and this one, press G. This one and this one, press G. Same here. Press G, okay, object mode, number 3. Okay, perfect. Let's take the lines off. Okay, this is wonderful. We don't have much time left, so what I'm going to show you now is how to quickly finish this, okay? So, a trick we are going to do, let's Control D this. Let's put this guy to the side, is we are going to mirror this, okay? Work on number 1, spacebar, go to mesh, mirror, open the options. We are going to mirror on plus Y, seems fine to me. Maybe let's mirror on plus X again. Don't forget that we are on object mode, so click on X, plus X. Okay, let me see if this, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. And I want this bridge to blend, okay, so let's have it blending a bit. Maybe not. We can't otherwise. If it blends, it changes the torus shape. So, okay, maybe this is still okay. Press 3, let's see how it looks. It's looking fine. For some reason, this you need to increase these edges. Increase. Shift right click. Increase them. I'm guessing it happened also on the bottom. Yeah, it did. So just select these edges and increase them just to let the curves flow. Select and select. Shift right click, crease, increase. Press 3. Okay, let's drag this guy a bit to the right. And basically the base of the galaxy Soho is more or less here. Actually, let's mirror this once. Okay, so spacebar. Let's mirror on number 1. Spacebar. Mesh. Open mirror options. And we are going to mirror on X then. You can try whatever mirror, sometimes it gets very interesting. Mirror on minus X, okay. It gets us more or less the same, so maybe we mirror on minus Y. It gets very different, but I think this is interesting. So, okay, let's keep this minus Y. Cool. Close this, object mode. Most likely the creases got again damaged, so don't forget that we should select these creases and increase them. Work on number 1, increase them. Okay. Last thing we are going to do for this little intro is to add a light. So create light, area light. It should go on 0, 0. If you press W, it's there. It's very tiny. Just bring it closer, bring it up, scale it outward so it's a bit wider. Rotate this a bit. Put it on the side. To test the light, just press 7. Press this guy on number 3 of smooth mesh preview. Okay, let me see how this is looking. It's actually looking quite cool. Quite cool. I'm very happy about it. Last things, if you want to screenshot this and you don't want to see your lights, don't forget to go to show and tick the lights Okay, let's also change the camera. So view, select camera, open your attribute editor, and instead of doing 35, let's increase this to 23. So it's a lot more intense, the perspective. Let's click this to get this away from us. Outliner as well. And there you go. I think this is the perfect intro for our next class. On our next class, we will actually finish the building on our details and we will get this a bit more architectural. But yeah, that's it, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed it and we will complete the rest of the building during our class. So sign up through Live Academy Instagram or the website or my own Instagram, and I guess I will see you there. Bye.